This is Dublin Airport in May of 2023. All these people are checking their luggage. It's a madhouse. We're not in that line. Why? Because my wife and I are in the midst of a 26-day trip with the combined luggage that you see here, which we're going to carry on the plane. Stay tuned and I'll explain how we do it and why. Welcome to my travel window, where we offer real-world tips for you to be able to see as much of the world as you can while you still can. The pile that you see in front of me is what we would typically take, or what I would typically take, on an overseas trip, regardless of the length. I'm going to pack it all into this suitcase and this backpack. In this episode, I'm going to explain why we do that and what the tips are to make it work right. Why pack light? Some of you think I'm already crazy, just getting this far. But apart from the fact that we avoid the kind of madhouse that you see here, there are 4 clear reasons why we pack light when we travel. And it's things that we've learned by experience. Number 1 is security. We just returned home from a cruise to Mexico. On about the 4th day of our 11-day cruise, we met a Canadian couple who bemoaned the fact that they had just now joined the ship, losing several days of the voyage. They explained that their airline had lost their luggage, and they in turn missed the cruise ship. They had to spend multiple nights in hotels, including one in Tijuana, which wouldn't be my choice of a place to stay. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated case. We know at least 3 other people who have had their vacation either partially or totally ruined by lost luggage. By the time you leave your suitcase, it changes hands as many as 5 or 10 different times across multiple cities and perhaps multiple airlines. It only takes one misstep to damage or ruin your entire trip. Number 2, flexibility. In 2021, we started and ended a cruise in Venice, Italy. On the night before the cruise, we stayed in a delightful Airbnb with entry stairs that looked like this. To get there, we used a vaporetto, or public water bus. We carried our luggage up the stairs, we carried our luggage on the bus. When we left the ship, we had to get to the train station, which involved hauling luggage across a bridge that looked like this. So meanwhile, someone else on our same cruise had brought large, unwieldy luggage. They had no choice but to find and hire porters to transport their luggage. They had to use private water transport, etc. When you pack light, you have much easier access to a wide variety of trains, buses, shuttles, and more. It really is a world of difference in terms of flexibility. Number 3, time. This difference was brought home to us the most vividly on our first trip to Europe in 2015. We were about halfway through the trip. We arrived in Munich, Germany, and we went to buy tickets to get to our next stop, which was going to be Neuschwanstein Castle in southern Bavaria. But there was a glitch. There was a train strike. While trains still ran, they were on a much more limited schedule. The agent told us that we could get there, but we'd have to have one critical connection. If we missed that, we would not make it. At that point, he told us we would have to exit the train, take the stairs down the platform, cross under the tracks, come back on another platform, and you will have 5 minutes total to move from one train to the other. It was actually less than that. We made it barely. With any more luggage, we would not have made the connection. It literally saved our trip that time, and for us, it was the point of no return for traveling light. Finally, number 4 is expense. Most airlines charge for checked luggage. It's not always nominal. And it's not unheard of for some of the budget airlines in Europe to charge more for a piece of checked luggage than for your airline seat. And there is no leeway for oversized carry-ons. If it doesn't meet their limits for size and weight, which are less than US limits, it gets checked and you get charged. Bottom line, there are so many things that can go wrong on a trip to a foreign country. Packing light minimizes the risks. It gives you the best chance for a successful trip. Okay, so what is packing light? What do I mean by that? We use the airport definition of what you can bring without checking luggage. In other words, a carry-on suitcase like this one and a backpack that fits under the seat in front of you. And you can attach the backpack to the suitcase so that both items can be transported with one hand. The TSA carry-on guideline is 22 inches from top to bottom, counting the wheels, 14 inches from side to side, and 9 inches deep. And this includes the wheels and the handles in those measurements. This is the size we use. If you do this, you can fly on any American airline. You can fly on all of the major international airlines and most of the commuter airlines in Europe, and maybe even all of them. We have not had a problem in dozens of flights over the last 10 years if you use this size. Now, in the comments, I'm going to put a link to the size that's allowed by each air carrier. You'll be amazed at the variation, but believe it or not, it's difficult to find this actual size. Most American luggage manufacturers cheat on at least one of the dimensions, and most American carriers, the major lines, don't press the issue. International carriers, particularly regional ones, are much more precise. It may be a carry-on when it leaves the US, but it won't be in many times in Europe. For the last 10 years, we have used Kenneth Cole reaction suitcases, and we've used Rick Steves backpacks. We just replaced our second Kenneth Cole suitcase. The suitcase we just replaced endured more than 25 trips and 300 days on the road. The backpacks are still going strong, all the zippers still work, they're still as good as new as far as we're concerned after 10 years. The 7 keys to success. In the comment section, I'm going to give links to 3 very popular channels who are going to reinforce most of the things that I say here. They will all 3 say to pack light. They'll have similar, although not identical, suggestions for how to do that. But here's my 7 keys for how to make it work. Number 1, pack for a week. What you're going to see in front of you is my suitcase. And what I do is I wear 1 set of clothes and pack 6 changes. So what you're going to see here are 6 shirts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is 1 backup pair of pants, 1 backup pair of either shorts or swim trunks. In this case, I packed shorts. So then in the bottom is going to be a backup pair of shoes, and stuffed inside and around the shoes in a packing cube are going to be all of the socks and underwear for a week. So what I have in one half of the suitcase is all the clothes I'm going to wear on a daily basis for the trip. Okay, so pack for a week, number 1. Number 2, make everything interchangeable. So you can see what I do is I wear black. I don't wear other colors. I wear black pants, and all of my shirts will go with that black outfit. So I don't have to ever worry about matching things. Everything, I have basically 1 color combination that goes throughout. So the socks are all the same, are either dark gray or black socks as well. So everything works together. Number 3, pick the right fabrics. I take very little cotton when I travel. I never pack jeans. I wear what is called technical pants, which are a polyester blend. All my shirts are polyester blend shirts. The cotton is too bulky. It takes too long to dry. It's too difficult to wash along the way. So number 4, roll your clothes. You can see what I've done here is rolled all the shirts and pants. The advantage is this does save space, believe it or not, and it also puts everything on top. So I don't have to dig down through to find things. I can look at one place and see where everything is that's in my suitcase. Number 5, use packing cubes and bags for the things that you don't roll. So what I've done here is I've used a packing cube to put my shoes, underwear, and socks in. So all of this is all contained. On the other side of this, I use a breathing machine. So I pack a breathing machine with me. It's a travel CPAP machine. It has its own packing cube. If I don't use everything else, I use Ziploc bags, normally 1 or 2 gallon Ziploc bags. So this is all of my non-liquid, non-311 toiletries. I also use 1 gallon bags for all of my electronics. Usually I break them into 2 parts so they're easy to pack. So tip number 6, be prepared without overpacking. So I've found that a good quality waterproof jacket, like the one I'm illustrating here, with a hood, covers almost all kinds of weather conditions. This one is from Eddie Bauer. It looks like this when it's unfolded, but then it packs into its own zippered pocket to put in the suitcase. So if you need to be warmer, you use layers. I wear athletic shoes, then I take exactly one backup pair of shoes. It forces me to choose for a given trip between sandals, comfortable dress shoes, or a second pair of tennis shoes. But in 10 years, I've never regretted limiting myself to one extra pair. In fact, one time I deviated and took the third pair, never wore them. Take a very small umbrella, an extension cord, which I have wrapped around the outside of the suitcase, maybe a hat. If in doubt, always bring the item that has the most flexibility. We usually bring a small iPad. The backpack accommodates a computer well, although we don't always take it. Remember, you also have the option to buy things along the way. Now, number 7, after you have these essentials covered, then you can spend some time deciding on unique things. So, because I'm doing YouTube videos, I packed this. My cell phone fits in here, and it lets me create smooth video. And so it's a stabilizer. It takes some space, but there's space for it. So I always take a journal. This last trip we took a Scrabble set, we took cards, we took a small pair of binoculars. If you're frugal with space for essentials, then you have options for things like this. So when all is said and done, you zip this, you put the hat in here and fix this, and you close it up. Okay, so now let's focus on what goes into the backpack. The Rick Steves backpack has a padded section in the back that will hold a laptop, which we often take. On the inside, I put all of our electronics. So everything we need to charge things and plug things in, do communications. I break them into 2 bags, stick them in the inside main pocket. So in the front, for when you go through airports, I have our 311 bag for airport security. In the side pockets, there's space for backup glasses. I wear contacts, so this is my glasses backup. And on the other side, my sunglasses. So, last but not least, there's a little pocket on the inside where you can stick a journal. So there you have it. With, as you can see, space left over.
What? You haven't filled this up? Why not? It's simple. I'm happily married. And any happily married man knows that a wife needs a little more space than a guy. A few more toiletries maybe, a few more clothes, some other things that I might not call essential. So, this is wife overflow space, otherwise known as happy wife space, because traveling light isn't worth much unless both of us do it. Happy wife, happy life. Before I get to a discussion of how to handle trips longer than a week, let me invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. It doesn't cost anything and it helps us out a lot. In 2025, we'll be producing videos on a weekly basis with a target of every Friday. We're going to cover cruise ships, itineraries, travel tips, all the things that will help you travel as far as you can, as well as you can, while you still can. Thanks in advance. So how long can you travel with a carry-on and a backpack? Short answer, as long as you want. Now I think most people would look at this and say, I could maybe do that for a 7 to 10 day trip, but anything longer surely needs more. We did this for the first time in 2015, 10 years ago. Our trip was 19 days overland through 4 countries in Europe. We were worried we hadn't packed enough. But the train strike incident in Germany cemented our decision that this was the best option for the travel that we wanted to do.
And when we got home, my wife and I started to unpack, looked at each other and says, you know, all things considered, I think we overpacked. In the 10 years since then, we've progressively sharpened our approach and lengthened the amount of time that we can travel this way. From 1921 to 23, we took trips of 35, 46, and 48 days by packing light. Our biggest limitations are finding places to wash clothes and limiting our souvenirs. For washing, we plan key points along those longer trips where we know that we can do laundry, either a cruise ship or in an Airbnb. And I occasionally washed a shirt in the sink and let it dry overnight just to tide us over at some point. So, have we ever deviated from this approach? Yes, but rarely. Of the 14 trips we've taken overseas, almost all of them were just a backpack and a carry-on. This last year we did take a 34-day trip, and it included a cruise. But this cruise was on the Queen Mary 2, and we wanted to experience formal night on that ship. There was no way we could figure out how to pack formal outfits and everything else we wanted to take. So we wound up checking a suitcase that was mostly filled with formal attire. Then we wound up schlepping that extra luggage all around Europe for the rest of the time. It reminded me just how freeing it is to travel light. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. We both still agree that traveling light is the best approach when we can do it. So what's your experience? Are you willing to try it? What other tips do you have? Or what is holding you back? Please leave comments below. Until next time, travel light, travel safe.